My friends, welcome to my short course on the 5 rules of entrepreneurship. I am an entrepreneur and I have been an entrepreneur now 28 years with a business in management consulting and leadership development. I consult with people, organizations, individuals, family businesses in particular, across 3 continents. And these are rules that I have developed after studying the whole issue of entrepreneurship from the inside, by being an entrepreneur myself. I want to say to you one thing, which is that success, like gravity, is a universal rule. It doesn't change for anybody, and it doesn't change with time. There are 5 rules that I have for entrepreneurships to be successful, for entrepreneurs to be successful. Passion, edge, discipline, inspiration, and return. We look at each of these one by one. The first one is passion. I say to you, if it can't make you cry, it can't make you work. It's absolutely critical for you to be passionate about what you are doing, because passion is infectious and you need to do that. You need to infect everyone around you with the passion of what you want to do. There are 3 indicators of passion. Number 1, the number 1 indicator of passion is huge energy, internal drive. If you need somebody to wake you up in the morning, then your passion is either flagging or it's dead. It has to be from inside. Enormous energy, never getting tired to do what you set out to do. Number 2 is you can't imagine doing anything else. You know, you have these bumper stickers on cars which say I'd rather be playing golf or I'd rather be fishing. Your car bumper sticker must say, I'd rather be training, I'd rather be teaching, I'd rather be making kites, I'd rather be flying a plane. Whatever it is that you do, that is what you would rather be doing anyway. 3rd indicator of passion. First, huge energy and internal drive. 2nd, you cannot imagine doing anything else. And number 3, you would gladly pay to do this thing. You would not only do this thing because it pays, you would pay to do it. Last point, if you find after working in an area for a while that you really don't have the passion, do yourself a favor. Go find something else to do. Because if you don't have the passion, you are not going to succeed. Take it from me. Rule number 2 is edge. It's like the edge on a knife, like the edge on a sword. If you want it to cut, the edge has to be very, very sharp. Why edge? Because many times if you ask people to introduce themselves, somebody will say, I am an IT engineer. Somebody will say, I'm a doctor. Somebody will say, I am a mathematician. Somebody will say, I am an engineer. But you know what? There are 1 million people like you. There are a zillion IT engineers. India alone produces more than 300,000 engineers per year. And you're one of them. So what? Big deal. Edge is when you work to become the best in the world at whatever you do. I don't know how many of you have read Malcolm Gladwell's book called The Outliers. I strongly recommend you read that. In that book, Malcolm Gladwell talks about something which he calls the 10,000 hour rule. And he shows statistically that people who are recognized as experts in their field and who are highly, highly successful in what they do have spent at least 10,000 hours doing that thing. And I think that's a brilliant rule. I completely and totally agree with what Malcolm Gladwell has said, because I've seen that in my own life. If you do not spend sufficient time working on your key skill that you are trying to make an entrepreneur out of, then you're not going to succeed. And what is sufficient time? Sufficient time is every waking moment. That is sufficient time. 10,000 hour rule. So ask yourself, how many hours have you been doing whatever you are trying to be good at? And if you haven't reached the 10,000 hour mark, sleep less, work more, reach that 10,000 hour mark, and then go beyond it. Very important to understand. We have this saying, which you must have heard, which says practice makes perfect. But you know something? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Correct practice makes perfect. And that's why it's very important for us to first look at and see whatever you're doing, is that the best way to do it? Because many times you learn to do something and you do it, and you're doing it the wrong way. And then to unlearn and learn the right way will kill you. It's easier to teach somebody who does not know how to do something than to teach someone who knows but is doing it wrong. To teach that person to do it right is far more difficult, because that practice, that wrong practice, has become permanent. So practice makes permanent. Practice does not make perfect. Correct practice makes perfect. Why edge? To stand out. Why stand out? Because leaders stand out and sheep blend in. You can't tell one sheep from another sheep unless you are the mother of that sheep. There's no way that you are going to tell one sheep from another sheep in a herd, in a flock of sheep. So you have to stand out, not blend in. Bottom line, give people a reason to remember you, because they see, especially decision makers, especially customers, especially key people whose support you need to make you successful in life. They see 1 million people like you every day. Give them a reason why they must remember you. The third rule of success as an entrepreneur is discipline. Remember, if it's worth doing, it's worth the trouble. There are 4 things that one must focus on in terms of discipline. The first one is focus. The clearer the focus, the better the aim. I don't know how many of you have seen wildlife films. BBC and National Geographic have some beautiful ones of lions hunting. If you see how a lion hunts, it focuses on the wildebeest, on that particular animal that it's after, and then goes after it. And there are sequences where you see this lioness running behind this particular wildebeest, and there is another one running right next to the lioness because it's a big herd, but she will not touch the one running next to her. She is after the one on which she has locked. That is focus. Focus means to ignore everything else. And that's something that we forget. We get very dissipated, we get very defocused, and we try to attend to many things at the same time. Doesn't work. I agree, there is a value in multitasking, but also do remember, the more multitasking you do, the less focus you have on the key thing that you must be after. So do multitask, but don't get defocused from what you are after, what you need in order to be successful. So the first rule is focus. The clearer the focus, the better the aim. Number 2 is strategy and metrics. How will you achieve this thing that you are after? What is your strategy? The clearer the strategy, the easier it will be to follow it. So very important to spend time on that. Very important to spend time on creating a strategy. Many times we get very action oriented and we want to get up and go. And we want to just start. The problem with that getting up and going without a clear strategy is that you hit a wall. And when you hit a wall and you bloody your nose, then it's very easy to get discouraged. Failures are the worst things that can happen at the beginning of an entrepreneurial venture. And most failures happen because the strategy is not clear. I do agree, there is a point beyond which trying to clarify strategy, trying to become overly analytical, analysis paralysis sets in, I'm not talking about analysis paralysis. I'm talking about a clear strategy to reach where you are going. Clarity, but with the willingness to be flexible as you go forward and as you work on that strategy. Number 2, even more important, is metrics. How do I know that I am successful? What are my metrics? What are my measurements? How do I know that I am going in the right direction? How do I know that I'm going at the right speed? Metrics are very important. We must measure ourselves. What we do not measure, we do not know. What we do not know, we do not control. What we do not control, we cannot guarantee. Very, very important for us to understand that. Number 3 rule is commitment. Commitment is the line that you cross between wanting and doing. To get up every morning and do what needs to be done, no matter how tired, no matter how exhausted, no matter how discouraged, no matter how many difficulties, no matter whether it is raining or not raining, we get up every morning and we go do it. That is commitment. If there is any flagging in commitment, then one must go back to focus and say, what is my focus? What is my goal? It's only when there is complete commitment. Once again, I come to my lion hunting sequences. There is a beautiful one on YouTube. I suggest you look at that, of a lioness attacking a zebra. Now there's this fantastic sequence. This lioness leaps onto the back of the zebra, and she's going so fast, she leaps up onto the back of the zebra, grabs his neck with her mouth and somersaults over the head of the zebra, flat onto the ground, but doesn't let go of her hold. The zebra now somersaults on top of the lioness, and the lioness is still holding that zebra. Complete commitment to the action. Those of you who have any experience in martial arts, I do Aikido. If you have any experience in martial arts, you know that when you are going in for the blow, you go with your complete and total commitment to that. There's no half-hearted work, there's no half-hearted blow, there's no half-hearted action as far as martial arts is concerned. Complete and total commitment to what you are doing. And the last one is push. Never be satisfied with what you achieve. I'm not saying live in a permanent state of dissatisfaction. This is what I call positive stress. Are you happy with what you are doing? Yes. Very happy, very content, but not complacent. There is a difference, a very critical difference between contentment and complacency. Contentment is a very good thing to have. Complacency is death. Never become complacent. Push. We have reached this far. Now what is the next limit? Remember, nobody knows the limit of what he or she can do. And therefore, we need to keep raising the bar. We need to keep setting new limits. I want to say to you, my friends, if it is worth doing, it is worth the trouble. We come to rule number 4. And the rule number 4 is inspire. Very important for us to understand. What is inspiration? Think about this. Many times people come to me and they ask me, they say, tell me, how can I motivate my people? You know what I say to them? I say to them, you cannot motivate anybody. You can only motivate yourself. And those who are with you, take from your motivation. The example I give them is, a candle does not do anything to a room in order to light the room. A candle does not do anything to the room to light the room. The candle is just true to itself, and the room enlightens. The room is filled with light. Why? Because the candle is true to itself. What is inspiration? Inspiration is to be able to make the other person dream your dream. And that is the biggest challenge of the entrepreneur. The biggest challenge of the entrepreneur is, how can I make you dream my dream? I have this dream in my heart. How do I transfer this dream into your heart, where it becomes your dream? Not where it is my dream in your heart, it is your dream. And that's very, very important, because unless we do that, we will never get the commitment of the people that we need in order to succeed. So inspire people. How can you inspire people? Remember, nobody can succeed on his own. No matter how talented you are, no matter how clever you are, no matter how intelligent you think you are, no matter how much of education you have, no matter how many resources you have, you cannot succeed alone. You need people with you. And those people will be with you depending on how well you can inspire them. And that inspiration is, how can I take my dream, which is in my heart, and transfer it into your heart in such a way that it becomes your dream. Very important in this whole matter is to be able to take people along. Remember, I wish I could create the kind of people I want, but I can't. And I don't think you can either. We have to work with people who come along. Some of them are wonderful, some of them are crazy. But we have to work with the crazies, because those crazies have critical skills that we need in order to succeed. They don't have great manners, they don't have great people skills, they don't speak very well, they have all sorts of triggers that go off and create trouble, but we still have to work with them. And that's why we have to develop our own people skills. Number 3, very important for the entrepreneur, very important for the leader, to have excellent conflict resolution skills. Believe me, if you've got 2 people, you will have a conflict. If you have 2 intelligent people, you will have a conflict even faster. Because people think, and when they think differently. And if you have people and you don't have a conflict, it means that you have people who are either completely demotivated, completely intimidated, or very stupid, because they're not thinking. If they were thinking, there would be conflict. Conflict is a difference of opinion. Conflict is a difference in focus. Conflict is a difference in terms of direction of where they want to go. All kinds of conflicts. And you have to be the person on the spot to be able to solve those conflicts. So excellent conflict resolution skills. And you know what is the best conflict resolution skill? 2 very important conflict resolution skills. Number 1 is to keep your mouth shut and listen very, very carefully. And number 2 is to smile. The more you can smile, the easier to resolve conflicts. Point number 4, excellent communication skills. We have to communicate, which means that we have to speak. We have to learn how to speak powerfully. We have to learn how to make an impact. We have to learn communication skills, very, very important. We have to respond to people's communications, respond to emails, respond to phone calls, respond to whatever, however people communicate. Remember, if a customer is calling you, and who is a customer? Everyone and his wife other than you is a customer. Everyone outside of you is a customer. If a customer calls you, he is already doing you a favor. So you must respond. You absolutely must respond. It doesn't matter what reason you have for not responding, that reason, delete. Respond. Excellent communication skills. How can you get across? Remember, communication is not to dump information. Communication is not about speaking. Communication is about being believed. Communication is credibility. Therefore, how can you speak? How can you write? How can you communicate effectively, powerfully to leave an impact? Bottom line, how can you be remembered? How will people recall you? Because remember, only the inspired can inspire. And believe me, my brothers, satisfaction is proportional to difficulty. Satisfaction is not proportional to ease. Inspiration comes because the task is difficult. Climbing Mount Everest is to walk 8 kilometers on the earth. And believe me, if you just walked 8 kilometers from my office here down the road, you would not have the same satisfaction as you would have if you walked that 8 kilometers all the way up to the top of Everest. Satisfaction is proportional to difficulty, not to ease. We come to the last of our rules of entrepreneurship, and that is the return. What are you getting out of it? What are you getting out of it? And that thing which you are getting out of it, is it valuable enough in your eyes? And is it valuable enough in the eyes of your team? Remember, what you're getting out of it is not always money. Most of the time, it is not even money, because the most motivated people in the world are working for something other than money. They're working for values, they're working for their freedom, they're working for their beliefs, they're working for things which have no money involved in it. But they're hugely, hugely motivated. Why? Because they believe that that return is worth their while. And that is very important for us. Clarity about return fuels effort. I always tell people, everything except tandoori chicken has a return. The chicken who died for you so that you could eat it didn't get anything out of it. It sacrificed its life and it got nothing out of it. Other than that, everything has a return. So remove the word sacrifice from your memory, remove the word sacrifice from your vocabulary, and substitute the word investment in its place. We are not making a sacrifice when we are working for our goal. We are not making a sacrifice when we are working for our career. We are making an investment. And guess where we are making that investment? Inside ourselves. Who benefits if I have a beautiful, fantastic, fast-track career? I benefit. Nobody else. Other people may get something out of it, but the chief benefit is for myself. So if I'm working for it, then I'm investing in myself. That clarity about the return fuels effort. I want to say to you at the end that if you remember these 5 rules: passion, edge, discipline, inspiration, and return. If you do that, then you will be successful. And as I said, success, like gravity, is a universal rule. It doesn't change over time, and it doesn't change for anybody. If you follow the rules, we will be successful. I wish you all success. Thank you very much.